Beautiful people, I am here at, let me turn it for you, the Google building. Holy smokes, do you see that? What is happening? I'm going into the YouTube headquarters in Los Angeles. So I'm gonna be bringing you guys with me. I just walked into YouTube's massive headquarters here in LA, and my nervous system went into overdrive. The ceilings tower, the space is huge, and creative energy is literally buzzing in the air. Scaling a vision can feel like walking into this warehouse, thrilling, but also draining. If you're like me, maybe you're even an INFJ at heart, you pick up on everything in the room. Today, we're talking about how to grow big ideas without overloading your brain. By the end, you'll see how leadership cognition and neuroscience explain exactly why environments like this energize and exhaust you, and you'll learn strategies to scale effectively while keeping your nervous system safe. 1, the massive space in your system. Walking into a giant room suddenly engages every sense. Every light, every sound, every person's energy washes over you. Neuroscience calls this sensory load. The more stimuli, the more your brain works. Porges' polyvagal theory warns that new overwhelming spaces can trigger a freeze or flight mode. For an INFJ or any deep thinker, that means even excitement has a cost. In this cavernous studio, glitzy screens flash, conversations hum, and smells of coffee buzz. Each of those is a data point your brain wants to process. This crowding of input lights up your amygdala and your visual cortex. You might not run away, but internally you're on high alert. This heightened state is your body saying, I'm taking it all in. The problem is it's unsustainable. Eventually your brain goes from wow, cool to whoa, I'm exhausted. Practical tip, notice what clogs your mental dashboard. In a big meeting, catch yourself pausing and breathing. Remind yourself it's safe to just observe, not react to every ping of stimuli. 2, social energy and emotional sponges. In these workspaces, collaboration is everywhere. We see pods of teams, impromptu brainstorms, friendly hellos. You absorb all of that warmth and ambition, but also the tension and stress. Psychologist Arlie Hochschild described emotional labor, managing feelings for others. Here, everyone is doing emotional labor to keep the creative vibes positive. If you're the empathetic type, you unconsciously match that vibe. That's being an emotional sponge. I find myself subconsciously mirroring a dozen people's energies. A colleague is nervous about a pitch, I feel anxious. Another is bursting with excitement, I perk up. That's natural empathy. But your brain is not a limitless sponge. Each battery icon has an empty pit. In a high stim environment, I feel each face I meet as a slight drain or boost. Over hours, this leads to social exhaustion. It's like each friendly handshake is a tiny sip of your willpower. By evening, you're empty. Research shows extroverts refill their batteries in crowds, but high sensitivity types drain faster. If you've ever hosted a big meeting or walked an expo floor, you know everyone else leaves energized and you leave wondering where your energy went. Practical tip, schedule micro breaks. Step into an empty office or restroom for a minute after back-to-back chats. Say, I need a sec, and breathe. This lets your nervous system down-regulate before absorbing the next wave of social signals. 3, neuroscience of leadership under load. Running a big project is stressful physiologically. Studies link chronic stress to less connectivity between prefrontal cortex and amygdala. That means under pressure, our fear center, amygdala, can hijack reasoning. While I tour, I notice my patience thinning around hour 2. My amygdala is on, keeping my guard up as dozens of cameras and strangers monitor me. In high-pressure leadership moments, it's easy to slip from calm guide to triggered instructor. The good news, knowing this circuit helps. During the tour's Q&A, I realized taking slow breaths actually thins the signal to the amygdala. A controlled inhale increases prefrontal oxygen and dampens stress response. Within seconds, I felt my brain re-engage creative empathy instead of panic. This is why many CEOs practice micro-meditations throughout the day. When you see founders closing big deals in store-by-store tours, they're secretly doing brain tricks to stay composed. Practical tip, before any high-stakes meeting, do a brief reset breath. Inhale for 4 counts, hold 4, exhale 4. It literally shifts neural networks towards calm focus. Even in the middle of a bustling HQ, it only takes 30 seconds to reboot. 4, focus, default mode, and vision. Scaling a vision means toggling between big picture dreaming and granular execution. Here at YouTube, I'm both awed by the vision and retracing how to make a video. The brain's default mode network, DMN, is active when we daydream or internally reflect. It's where visionaries roam, yet in a crowded, goal-driven environment, too much DMN activity can sabotage focus. In 2015, biopsychiatry, Hamilton showed excessive DMN connectivity links to overthinking and difficulty shifting gears. In other words, too much brain wandering while leading can slow you down. On this tour, my mind kept bouncing from, are we on schedule? To, did I remember that detail? To, that neon sign is too bright. This ping pong is the DMN hijacking my working memory. The result, I lost time and felt mentally fuzzy. Research confirms creative types like INFJs with high DMN activity are prone to rumination. We remember past details and imagine every future consequence simultaneously. Practical tip, use timed focus blocks during your tour or meeting. 5 minutes fully in, then 1 minute to jot down any stray thoughts and refocus. This keeps your DMN on a leash so you can actually do instead of daydream all the time. 5, physical and emotional recovery. All this mental sprinting depletes your system physically. Stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline may be fueling your drive now, but they need to come down before burnout. Unlike typical outdoorsy scenes here in the HQ cafeteria sipping kombucha, I notice my hands shaking slightly from the adrenaline dump. The body remembers stress even after we feel relaxed. Studies show that after leaving high-stim environments, it takes hours for heart rate variability, HRV, to recover. That's why social animals hug it out. It's biology calming us. In the creative industry, we often glorify in-the-zone energy, but if you never unwind, that zone becomes a burnout minefield. Today, stepping into a quiet corridor for a silent minute made a tangible difference. My muscles unclenched. I realized scaling a vision means scheduling recovery as strictly as brainstorming. Even at Google Campus, I recall innovators padding through Zen gardens to reset their brainwave patterns. Practical tip, end your day with a clear boundary. No screens, just downtime. The quieter the last 30 minutes, the more tomorrow's clarity. If you've made it this far, you clearly value insights over hype. Imagine seeing exactly what I'm seeing right now. The tour footage of these halls, the behind-the-scenes stories, that's exactly what my members get. Join the channel's membership to get exclusive access to the YouTube HQ walkthrough. Tap the link below to get in on this unique experience. There's something happening in large ambition spaces that nobody talks about. It's not just noise. It's not just light. It's not even just pressure. It's hierarchy. The moment you walk into a massive creative headquarters, whether it's YouTube, a Fortune 500 boardroom, or a high-stakes mastermind, your brain is unconsciously mapping status. Who matters here? Who has power? Where do I stand? You don't consciously think this, but your nervous system does. Research in social neuroscience shows that the human brain rapidly encodes dominance hierarchies within milliseconds of entering a group environment. The amygdala and medial prefrontal cortex track perceived social rank automatically. This isn't ego, it's survival wiring. And here's the twist most visionaries miss. Scaling your vision means voluntarily walking into bigger hierarchies. And hierarchies are biologically expensive. Inside large creative institutions, subtle status signals are everywhere. Badge colors, office size, who interrupts who gets eye contact, who gets deferred to, your brain tracks all of it. Studies using fMRI show that lower perceived social rank correlates with increased amygdala activation and higher cortisol output. Elevated rank perception, by contrast, increases testosterone and dopamine availability, the neurochemistry of confidence and drive. In other words, your nervous system doesn't just respond to workload, it responds to where you believe you stand. Now here's why this matters for scaling. When you expand your vision, you temporarily lower your relative status. Every new level puts you back at the bottom of a bigger room. And that drop, even if subtle, activates stress circuitry. That's why ambitious environments feel electrifying and destabilizing at the same time. You're not just working harder, you're biologically renegotiating identity. In a place like YouTube headquarters, surrounded by creators with millions of subscribers, your nervous system does a rapid comparison scan. Am I behind? Am I ahead? Am I relevant? Am I invisible? Comparison is not weakness, it's neural mathematics. But unchecked, it fries your system because chronic upward comparison activates threat monitoring pathways. And threat monitoring consumes glucose, attention, and emotional bandwidth. That's the hidden cost of ambition, not effort. Status recalibration. Here's the advanced move. Instead of unconsciously competing in every room you enter, consciously choose your status frame. There are three. Threat frame, I have to prove myself. Defensive frame, I need to protect what I have. The first two spike cortisol. Contribution frame, I'm here to add value. The third activates oxytocin and dopamine in cooperative circuits. Research in cooperative hierarchy models shows that perceived contribution reduces stress markers even when rank is low. In other words, you can enter a bigger room without shrinking internally, but only if you detach identity from position. That's leadership-level nervous system control. Now let's go one level deeper. There's another layer happening in high-ambition environments, mirror neuron competition. When you're surrounded by high performers, your motor cortex and mirror systems activate as if you are performing at their level. This creates inspiration, but it also creates metabolic load. Your brain is rehearsing higher output constantly. It's like running mental simulations all day. That costs energy, which means sometimes you're exhausted, not because you did too much, but because you mentally simulated too much. And simulation burns fuel. So here's the integration. If you want to scale without frying your nervous system, stop unconsciously negotiating status in every room. Choose your frame before you walk in. Decide, am I here to compete or am I here to contribute? That one decision changes your neurochemistry. And here's the final truth most people won't tell you. Scaling your vision will always feel destabilizing at first, because your identity has to stretch faster than your nervous system prefers. That stretching feels like stress. But there's a difference between expansion stress and collapse stress. Expansion stress builds capacity. Collapse stress erodes it. The difference is intention. If you walk into bigger spaces with clarity of contribution, you metabolize hierarchy instead of being consumed by it. That's how you scale. Not by hardening your nervous system, but by mastering it. Designing workspaces for your brain. Not all creative spaces fry your nervous system equally. Look at how YouTube HQ actually helps. Color-coded zones, plants, even beanbags. These elements aren't just decor, they signal your brain this space is safe to relax. Studies in environmental psychology find that biophilic design, plants, natural light, lowers stress hormones by 15%. I walk through a glass greenhouse hallway and feel instant calm. The ACC activity drops. Conversely, fluorescent lit meeting rooms spike my cortisol levels. Understanding this helps you create your own scaled vision environment. Maybe your home office needs a single plant or a warm lamp to break the tunnel of screens. Maybe your team's war room needs a whiteboard and a window. The biggest corporations spend millions on these details because they know a supportive atmosphere is a high ROI investment. Don't neglect your neuroarchitecture. Practical tip. Audit your most used spaces. Where is natural light? What colors dominate? Add something warm or lively in the spots that feel drain-inducing. Scaling without stress isn't easy, but it's possible. Today we saw how every lofty goal has a neurological price tag. The solution isn't to wear armor, it's to build resilience. Keep your heart open, but give your mind breaks. Even if you're the idealistic INFJ lighting up YouTube's halls with passion, you deserve rest. The trick is integration. Let your nervous system run at human speed, not warp speed. Remember, a visionary's pace isn't about lasting longer, it's about lasting smarter. Listen to your body as much as your mission. Scale sustainably. And next time you see a giant warehouse or hear about big dreams, smile. You know how to meet them eye to eye at your own pace. If you found this video insightful, consider liking and subscribing. And if you want the exclusive HQ tour footage and behind-the-scenes stories, join our membership for full access. Keep pursuing your vision and on your own terms.